Don't you want to verify Outlook there, Joe?
I didn't even realize I still had Outlook installed on this computer
Because you use it so often.
because I use it so often. Outlook and the computer.
Yeah. I'm on here all the time. Nope.
I apologize for any wincing and grunts. I pulled a muscle in my upper mid back
Oh no.
working out today, and it is bothering me.
Oh no, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a shame.
It's a total shame. Did you watch the Tomorrow War?
Not only did I watch that, but I finished Loki today.
Oh my God, we have stuff to talk about then.
You're welcome. I watched Tomorrow War on Sunday. Yeah, my day off, Sunday. I was like, what day did I watch that? Sunday.
All days are together.
Yeah, I mean, this new fucking sleep schedule is yikes.
It's gonna be weird to get used to,
Yeah. This is
especially
gonna
the weeks
suck.
going forward.
Yeah, this is gonna suck for a little while, but whatever.
Whatever. All right. What did you think of the Tomorrow War?
I enjoyed it. It had some interesting things it did. Does that sound right?
No, it sounds right.
And I say that not. I mean, I can't say I had problems with it other than one. There's one thing. I mean, there's probably several that I just glossed over because I didn't care. But there's one thing that really bothered me the most.
And
So just a blanket spoiler warning because we're about to spoil
the
it.
fuck out of this thing.
So I liked it up until the one glaring mistake that was made.
Okay.
The glaring mistake was when they got on the ship and they were gonna inject the fucking thing, right?
Yes.
You could clearly see which one the queen was,
Yes.
but they didn't go directly at her.
Yes.
And I was like, when you walk in that first room, clearly I knew the ship was bigger than they made it look because there needed to be a bunch because of the way they set it up with the whole just there's a shit ton of them.
Right.
And I mean, obviously they could do she just started spitting out eggs and they're just, crapping alien sperm on or whatever.
Right.
That doesn't bother me. Then they showed the whole giant fucking wavy thing and they're all popping. I was like, oh,
The
obviously there's a
fucking
bunch.
cargo hold.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's full. Okay. When they walk in that first room and you see the 10 or 12 sacks, what do you want to fucking call them? And the one in the middle is clearly bigger. Not just the sack itself, but the creature in it was bigger.
Yes.
I was like, clearly that's the queen.
Right.
And in my head, I'm thinking, all right, maybe they're gonna let us know that there's a different one, right? This is anticlimactic because they walk in, they're all hanging there. Let's jam them with the fucking kill liquid, and then we're good to go, right?
Yeah, you think you're gonna get all that's there.
Yeah. So I was like, all right. In my head, before obviously it went through, I was like, oh, he's gonna walk over, he's gonna prat it up, he's stick that bitch, and be like, yeah, deed is done, and then they're gonna find another queen or something. But no, they just walk over to fucking the drones and boom. I was like, bro, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
You know now what's gonna happen. They gonna wake up. You gonna have to fight them. That's just what is wrong with you? And then I was like, it was funny because I was watching by myself. And when that happens, obviously they break loose and then they run after the queen who...
She cheeses it.
Yeah, she just cheeses it. I mean, I get it. She's like, fuck this is nonsense, right? She goes... And then there was some problems with that whole, she somehow attacks them but they get away, and so does she into the snow. And I was like, wouldn't she have just torn them apart?
Could have.
Like,
I would say.
I would have been better off, like, if we would have seen J. Jonah Jameson and fat what is his name in the movie?
I can't remember the names.
Like, anyways, the chubby black guy. If they were to see her like she jumps at him, they dive out of the way because they don't want to get fucking eviscerated. Clearly, that shit's gonna happen. And she books it through the tunnel, and they have to chase after her, and that's when they're collapsed, like, can't run any farther. She's too, whatever. I'd been like okay with that, but somehow they just were gone, and then so was she, and so Pratt runs out, spots them in the fucking blizzard. Somehow they're visible, and then like they jump on all the fucking, like, the one guy's like, no, stay here, blah blah blah. You're fat and out of shape. We're gonna go hunt this bitch down. And that whole thing, I thought that was kind of cool with like whole bait thing. Like, obviously she's smart, but she's also dumb. But that whole battle shouldn't have happened because they should have murdered the shit out of her in her giant cocoon thingy. And then they should have revealed a bigger batter queen that they could have all fought against. And then like wounded her really badly, and then she's trying to escape, and then they blow the ship up, happy endings. Mm-hmm. But instead, fucking suicidal fucking dude just like going out my way, boom. I'm like, bro, what is wrong with you?
Right. Killing
him and all the future people that were with him. And I was like, also, don't do that yet, bro. Like, let's, like, I know they're getting out of their little fucking cocoons or whatever, but I'm like, you could have mopped this up a little differently and not blown yourself up. But hey, who am I to say how to live your life or shorten your life or whatever you want to call it? Anyways, but yeah, my main problem was the fact that they didn't go right after that bitch, even though they knew she was fucking dangerous.
Yes.
Like, you need to get it. Like, that's why you came here, is to get it. That should have been your, like, all of you should have just stuck that bitch with 19 needles. Just right. Fucking let it go. Because clearly you need to kill that bitch because she's real mean and is not very forgiving. But I mean, I liked, like, again, spoiler alert, I liked the fact that his daughter was the one that was like in charge or whatever. The only problem is that reveal was kind of shit. Yes.
I called it from a mile away.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that's dumb. I would have liked it to be more of a, we're like they're out on that mission and he finds out and then it's like, wait, what? And then he has to go save her. It's like, well, I need to fucking learn, like, know things. Now, mind you, the story, I actually dug the whole, like, process because, like, or the what they did with it because, like, he disappears, obviously going to the future. In her timeline, he returns, obviously a week later, with horrific PTSD. And you saw that when he came back, right? But the difference is now he has the foreknowledge that he's a piece of garbage going forward, so he's going to change. He's like, I need not to let this, get to me. So what I need to do is I need to make things right. I need to go through, make the serum, find a way to kill these things. And I'm thinking, and the one thing I actually thought was really clever, it was the whole thing is that they were here all along. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's actually pretty awesome. Because what I was thinking is, why don't you build a future weapon? Like, you have a bunch of years, right, to develop this. Why don't you fucking plan? And then it dawned on him, like, bro, no, like, these motherfuckers has been here. And I was like, how does that make sense? And then it just falls into place. And I was like, oh, someone way smarter than me wrote that part. But someone way dumber than me wrote that other part that I complained about earlier because all the shit he went through with his future daughter, that's what I'm going to call her, future daughter, should have taught that dude to go after that red-bellied bitch real quick.
Yeah.
Like, I'd have planted, like, C4 all around that cocoon and then ejected that bitch with all the serum I could handle. And then once I saw her dissolve into goo in that thing, just blow that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, all right, let's go. Let's blow the rest of this nonsense. But like I said, I that was my only real complaint. I didn't really have too much issues. I thought, and like, I don't remember. I know you mentioned like in the trailer you saw some like wonky CG, and I don't remember if I ever really noticed any in the trailer. And I didn't really notice too much in the movie. Other than a couple rubber people when they were being attacked, like they just went to like full CG rubber people. But for the most part, the ones they like focused on like up close, like the one that really got me, like made me think Starship Troopers, was when they were making their escape towards like out of the fucking blast zone. They're like, let's hoof it. I'm thinking, motherfucker, none of these cars work? You can't just jump in a car? Like there's no functioning cars in the future? Miami sucks even in the future. But I was like, right. All right, so we're booking it down this way, right? I'm like, you're going to outrun a fucking, like, a jet dropping bombs? All right, cool, whatever. And then the Hummer's like, okay, Hummer's going to get them. But, like, are they going to get them in time? Because that's, like, a lot of shit. But then the Hummers get fucking sideswiped by fucking the aliens or whatever you want to call them. And I was like, this ain't good. I know your week ain't up, so, because you only been here for a couple hours at best. And shit's already gone south, so y'all need to find a new evac, right? But then the Starship Trooper part comes from is that one guy like starts shooting at him and then like he gets hit and then like picked apart by a bunch of them. I was like, ooh, that guy dead. Like I can tell because he's there, and that one's running away with part of him, so he ain't in the sequel. But yeah, no, I thought the creatures were pretty cool. I about pissed my pants when they started flying squirrel. Though, when they jumped off and they're like just sprout, like they just raised their wings, and I was like, y'all see this, right? And no one's panicking. It was the part where they took the queen out of the weird nesting, which I didn't understand if we built or they built. I wasn't too positive about that.
They built it.
But when they finally evac her, which I thought also was kind of a problematic scene because like, y'all shoot them tentacles off, shoot them all off. Like, you had no problem getting most of them. And then she regrew them real quick, so I thought maybe that was a problem, too. Because they never show her, like, regrow, but when she's in the little, like, torture fucking chamber swing thing, just baiting her fucking time, by the way. Just like, she's like, no, I'm going to chill here until y'all think you're up ahead, and then I'm going to make a scream thing, and all my creatures can come at you. Which, by the way, terrible defenses, but we'll get to that in a minute. But like I thought the CG of the creatures was pretty good. I thought the practical effects of the movie were good. Not that they didn't make well, they might have had that creature at the end when in the chains. That might have been practical at one point because it looked pretty solid and didn't really it wasn't animated. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like chilling there, and they might have like CG'd up the movement of like the breathing and stuff.
Yeah.
For the most part, not the whole thing. I obviously didn't create it. Fucking.
It'd be really weird to do a whole like we're gonna do this one scene, completely animatronic and everything.
Yeah, exactly. I think they just kind of boosted it a little bit. Obviously, when she woke up, that shit was not real. But I thought it was and it's funny because I'm thinking like, oh, this is like we created these things by accident because they look like frogs, like they had very frog-like features, like their hind legs. I've never seen a frog that has tentacles that shoot fucking gnarly ass spikes, by the way. Which I don't think it was.
Where in the Amazon there is.
I mean, okay, yeah, I've never been in the Amazon, but I know there's like a little fish that swims up your dick hole and will make you fucking like not be able to get like poop right ever again, which is just terrifying in general. And never go to Amazon or just never get in the water. Just don't go to the Amazon. How's that? But yeah, that's my only thing. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was an interesting time travel mechanic they used in it. I mean, not a lot of pseudoscience went into it because like time travel's not real. But I thought the whole paradox thing was interesting. Like the whole test wasn't to see if you could survive the jump; it's to see if you already existed because you can't.
Yep.
I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And when they, I also thought the exposition of telling us that was actually pretty cool too, because like the two smart dudes are like, oh, they're like 28 years means these people don't exist now, and we don't exist then. And then I was like, oh, you're all dead in the future.
Yeah.
Either by creatures or, a drunk driving accident type
Or
thing.
cancer or something.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you're all dead. I was like, oh, that's pretty brutal. And the other thing that bothered me too, and this is dumb, but it disturbed me in a way, is when J. Jonah Jameson and fucking Owen McCready from Jurassic World were laying on the snow after the super, like, we gonna win this fight, and then he like dies her off the cliff, right? She goes splats, which was actually pretty cool because you saw her decaying. Which, by the way, when she ripped off her arm,
that's pretty smart.
nobody said, clever girl, you couldn't have thrown in there for me?
Clever girl. Yeah, right?
Just like, oh shit, that's smart or whatever. That was like, because I was like, oh, not just a tourniquet, just get rid of that arm, because clearly you grow them pretty quickly because them tentacles came back overnight. Mm-hmm. But I was like, that's not good. And he's like, aha, bitch, I got another one. And I was like, you should have a whole vest of them. Your vest should be them. So if she grabs you, she's infected. And how did he not lose an arm, by the way? When he done jam that shit in her back molar, right?
Right.
That shit should have been fucked. Like, that should have been broke off, like, and like gnarled teeth in it or whatever. But what, it's neither near there. But I actually enjoyed the movie. And I was saying is, like, when they are both laying on the snow and like the fat guy shows back up, and I was like, how the fuck did he get here?
Yeah, he just shows up and just full on snow angels next to him, and you're like, what? All right, fuck it, whatever.
Yeah, I was like, what? How did you get here? Did you follow him? Like I don't know, man. It was weird. I would have been okay if he like showed up halfway through the battle and like then re-rammed her again with the snow thingy, and I'd be like, okay, he got there somehow. But he drifted up, and then he saw what was going on, and he drifted back down a little hill, and he's like, I'm gonna wait to see.
That's totally his character. That's totally his character.
Yeah, which, if I would have seen that, I'd have been okay with it. He'd be like, oh no, I'm gonna wait over here just in case she runs this way. I'll get her. But
yeah,
whatever. What'd you think?
So, as I told you, this movie was good. This movie wasn't good. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I really did. This movie is an amalgamation. There are so many
things.
So many. It's like honoring tons of different movies,
homages.
And, it's been over a week since I've seen it, so I'm gonna miss a ton of stuff. It's obviously Alien. The crash ship at the end, where they're like, those aren't whatever they fucking called the things. That's totally the space jockey.
Yeah.
And then they make it to the first cargo hold, and you see the aliens there, and they're like, oh, this was what'd they say? Was this the movie where they were saying that this was a way to possibly wipe out some Earth or some other planet in order to colonize it?
Yeah, because they're like, this isn't what do you say? This isn't an invasion. It's a
they were going to wipe out either Earth or some other place.
Yeah, like they might have just crashed here or whatever.
Yeah, it was a way to wipe out the population, the species that are on Earth, so that they can recolonize it with whatever that they wanted. Or at least that's what the basic idea was. There was no real evidence there to support that, but that's what they went with, which was fine.
Prometheus, right? Was that the one? No. What was the second one?
Prometheus.
The one.
I think you're talking about the sequel then, because that's where they really deep, which was
Covenant, right?
Covenant, where they really dove into the idea that the engineers were sending the black goo back to Earth in order to take out humanity, basically because it had gotten out of control.
Yeah.
But it escaped. It crashed on LV 420, 428, 426, one of those.
And then obviously, we done fucked that shit up too. Anyway, go ahead.
So, aliens, you can make the argument for. Starship Troopers, my God. The scene that you mentioned where they go after the queen alien was literally the scene from the end of Starship Troopers where they're going after the brain alien.
Yeah, the
big bug brain. and they're just pulling that thing out of the cave. And I was like, where's Neil Patrick Harris? Where's NPH? You going to show up in his weird Nazi-esque suit?
Space Nazi.
Thing? I'm sorry.
Space
That's
Nazi.
what it looks like,
Space Nazi.
Space Nazi.
He was in space.
Any time travel movie. This is just an honor, whatever it is for any time travel movie. Then Stargate as well, because they use wormholes in order to get from one place to another. And like I said, there's probably tons of other things that are just really hints and nods towards other movies and whatnot. So it was absolutely an amazing idea, an amazing amalgamation of all these different types of movies. And I really, really loved what they did with the time travel.
Yeah.
The idea that, because it was something that I've never seen before. What do you do to prevent a paradox? Well, first off, they built a time machine that only goes, 30 years in the past?
Up to 30 years in the past,
Up to 30 years in the past. But it exists only 30 years. So as 1 week passes in the future, 1 week passes in the past. You can't go further back than that. You can't go further forward than that from this wormhole. And their explanation was that we only built one. This is what it does. If we built more, we could probably travel further back in time or this or that, but we can't. We built this one. It only does this.
Yep.
It's a two-way street. I was like, that's absolutely really cool. And then the fact that, they're only selecting a handful, like not even all the military was, and that initially went through was going to make it. And you're sitting there thinking, like, why? Is it something that, is it some sort of genetic thing? You can't, only certain people can actually travel back in time. But then when they actually put Pratt into the machine and they're going through it, that it starts to, things start to come together and you're like, oh, he's dead in the future before the invasion happens. So that's why some people can go and that's why some people can't. And that's why, a lot of the recruits, quote unquote, were older people.
Yep.
Because either through natural death or through accidents or whatnot, they're dead before or as this happens.
Yep.
So it's a completely clever thing to do. Absolutely amazing. The design of the creatures was completely terrifying.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And the scene that I had mentioned in the trailer, which literally I think I saw like a week before this actually released, was literally the Humvee scene, where the Humvees are coming up and they get blindsided by the aliens coming off to the side. And I was like, that looks really wonky. And, kind of when I found out the movie was coming out, in a week, I was like, I hope that they cleaned that CG up in a week, because things just, if I recall right, the problem with it is that nothing looked like it had weight to it, essentially. It just essentially looked like these aliens just, didn't really have much texture to them and just rolled over these Humvees. But by the time you get to that scene in the movie, looked absolutely fantastic. All the aliens looked absolutely terrifying. I like that you didn't really get a good idea of what these things looked like. They never really gave you an explanation of what they looked like at the beginning until you were actually face to face with them, with Pratt and the rest of the team. Let me think. What else was there that I really enjoyed about the movie? I'm sure there's a ton of other stuff. Like I said, it's been a week since I've seen it. The problems that I had with the movie.
Go ahead.
For one, the very first scene of the movie where they're in the maybe not the very first scene, but they're in his because he's a teacher. Pratt is a teacher.
Yeah.
So they're in his classroom.
Yep.
And he's teaching something. Nobody really wants to engage, so he's like, hey, who, what do we want to talk about? And the one dude raises his hands, and he's trying to like avoid that dude. Which, when I'm thinking like, okay, well, we want to talk about what's going on in the future, because the past people showed up, which was actually dope. The way they showed up on the football field.
Football field, yeah.
It was a soccer field. Right?
It was a World Cup.
Yeah, because it was a World Cup. absolutely stunning entrance
And a great idea.
and a great fucking idea. Fantastic. You would think that's what they would want to talk about. No, this dude wants to talk about volcanoes. And at that point, I was like, okay, well, that's how we solve the problem.
Odd.
That's the solution to this. Is going to be volcanoes. I don't know how yet, but that is going to solve this movie. That is like foreshadowing to a like.
You trick him into running into a volcano, Joe.
It annoyed me. It fucking annoyed me that it was like, we're going to talk about volcanoes, and I was like, I turned to my brother and I go, well, that's how this movie's going to end. They're going to solve the problem with volcanoes somehow. Lo and behold,
No way, yeah, they
the
did.
problem with volcanoes.
They did.
Which, by the way, the ending scene, the scene there, when they get to that point in the movie and they figure out that the aliens have been there all the time, that one dude had the claw, and somehow the claw has maintained volcanic ash from a certain time period in its claw for how many ever miles that it has run from the tundra. Or
also,
maybe it's not
also
tundra.
swam.
Global warming maybe has just completely, well, it did. That's actually kind of what the plot point was, that global warming reached a point where it melted a lot of the ice and these things were able to actually get out. Fine. But it didn't pick up any other dirt along the way. You know, it just maintained the fucking ash from the one fucking volcano or volcanic eruption that they're able to microscope into existence. You know, oh, this ash was from the blah, blah, blah. Jesus Christ. It annoyed me. That part annoyed the fuck out of me because it was just so on the nose. Like, that's how we solve the problem. Another scene that really annoyed me, but it was more of a, I feel like this was an afterthought type of scene. Like, they had shot the movie, they got done with it, and they were like, we need to add like one more scene with Chris Pratt. Well, you know, Chris Pratt and his daughter. It's that outdoor scene after he gets drafted. He's like trying to explain, you know, where he needs to go, and there was a weird, just the way it was weirdly shot was like, she and him are not in the same room at all.
Oh, you mean when she's digging in the backyard?
Yes, when she's digging the backyard. It was clear to me that they were not in the same scene right there, which was really just it was just weird. That's all I'm saying. It was just weird to me. It really didn't add much to it, and it was just weird. Let me think. What happens after that? Blah blah blah. They go time travel, which was really cool. So they time travel. They get like fucking abducted up into the air, and they just shit goes wrong, and they most of them end up on the top of a building in a pool.
That was rough.
The other 2/3 of them end up on the ground floor of Miami, which was a 30-foot drop which was probably like a 10, 20, 30-story drop from where they were supposed to end up.
Well, not just there, but like
terrifying.
The building and then the space above it.
And then
fell down.
Yeah,
because
the space.
Yeah, he skydived down a bit, and I was like, "Ooh, good lord!"
When they show him, like, he's like, "Oh, kind of, he might miss it," and then he just goes back into it. I was like, "God damn it, guys, that was fucking awful. Don't fucking do." I thought they were going to executive decision us right there.
Chris Pratt's not in this, actually.
Executive decision, for those of you who are too young,
is an Air Force One sequel
in the 90s, where no, it wasn't Air Force One. It was the passenger jet that was taken over.
Yeah.
They send in these specially trained, Black Ops guys. Movie stars Kurt Russell and Steven Seagal. And Steven Seagal dies in the first 30 minutes of the movie. And you're like, okay, that was a big name to kill off at that time. I don't really think anybody would really care about Steven Seagal now. But at that time, it was like, he was a big action guy, a big action hero, and they killed him off in the first 30 minutes. So I was like, ooh, you got an executive decision us right there. Pratt just splats. Sorry, that was probably loud.
That was really loud.
Onto the fucking pool deck, and you're just like, all right, we're going to go with Gale the Snail and nerdy black guy and quiet black guy, quiet strong type dude. Whose character I was reading earlier they had like a whole backstory for him, but they didn't really, from what I understand, they didn't really tell the actor, you know, what his backstory was. They just basically were like, okay, in this scene you're going to be like this. So even his history, even his backstory to the actual actor was kind of a mystery. And it's a mystery throughout the whole entire movie. You know, why is he? Because this is his third quote unquote tour of duty, which, by the way, you find out at the end that he's got cancer. He's gonna die anyway, so he figures he might well go out his way.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously he went. He was part of the time travel, so he mentioned he wasn't alive then, so
Right.
he knew something happened, obviously, and he obviously found out, or he knew he had cancer, and he knew he wouldn't survive.
Two and two together that he's got terminal cancer, so that's why.
Yeah,
He's
I have cancer, and I'm not alive in the future. Shit.
So the next thing that bugged me about the movie is that right then and there, they don't put anybody in charge. Like, I get it. The whole idea was by the point that they were at, they were just basically like, we're just going to throw a bunch of civilians that barely know how to do shit. Basically, they're fodder. They're just fodder. You're going to throw them into a situation and see how well they do. But you don't give them a leader. Like, I would have thought that, and strong silent type, having done 3 tours, I would have thought that, you know, they would have been like, okay, you are essentially group leader.
Yeah. But instead they wait till the dire time where they all, you know, barely any of them survive, and they're like, oh, you have military experience? You're in charge, Pratt. And you're like...
Well, it wasn't even really that. It was just like on all comms, they were like, okay, who's alive? And everybody's looking around, and Pratt's just like, I'm alive. I have military experience. What do you want us to do? And it's like, oh, this is how we pick the leaders? Just right in the middle of things. We didn't establish this beforehand that hey man, you're gonna be a leader of your little group. You're gonna be a leader of your little group, and you're just gonna, I don't know, or send a future person back with them to be an anchor point or something like that, rather than just dropping somebody into the stuff and just being like, okay, you guys need to. Yes, Cody.
Real quick, not about volcanoes. Would you have been upset about it if they would have done that and then all those dudes or ladies got unfortunate drops and it was just Pratt and his group like we saw?
I wouldn't have been upset because at least you're establishing a chain of command, and the chain of command can go sideways, and then you have to pick. You have to pick in the heat of the moment who's in charge of things. But just to skip right to that and just being like, oh, we didn't really plan this out. Who's in charge? You know, or maybe they did. It was a 2 hour and 19-minute movie. I could only imagine that there's quite a few things that ended up on the cutting room floor.
Yes. Which actually brings me to think is like, I would have liked this to be a mini series.
It probably would have worked a lot better as a mini series, and it probably would have been even more enjoyable.
The only reason why, when I was thinking about this before today, I would have thought making a mini series, you could delve into that 7 days more. And you could have had the reveal of her being his daughter way later.
And it probably would have been way more impactful, honestly.
Yeah. Because he could have, even without him knowing before, because I wouldn't have had the queen get caught minutes later. That would have been like, oh, day 3 of his week. They have caught up to her. They found out where she's hiding, blah, blah, blah. And then that whole thing, even by then, he wouldn't have known. He would have just instinctively, like, helped out because people were getting fucking murdered and, like, obviously, like, things weren't going so well. Because they wouldn't blow up those fucking tentacles, bro. What is the main thing they use to murder people from a distance?
Right, the fucking tentacles.
Okay, sorry. So you could have delved into that week And you could even made it. I'm not saying like 24 hours, 24 us, where like every episode is a different day. You can have days fucking the same, like overnight, blah blah blah. I would have just liked to
expanded it from a week to a month.
Easily.
If you survive a month in the future, you get to go home.
Yeah,
it could have been something different like that.
Yeah, I mean, even if it is, if you stay in the week and they make it a miniseries, you can still give the stipulation of, hey, we were already hunting them down. We've like they played their hand the wrong way when they went after, the research people. We followed them back or whatever. We saw where they came from, whatever it happens to be. Which, I mean, obviously, like time travel is like the least of their technology advancements because traversing the globe is tremendously easy in the future apparently, even though I always thought it was helicopters and fucking like dune buggies and shit, and Hummers, lots of Hummers, like just a shit ton of Hummers, but it's Miami, so I guess that's a thing.
Yeah,
but like they were on that island north of Russia and then back in the middle of the ocean, Bahamas, right? Not Bahamas. Where was the island? Where was their little water base at?
I honestly have no idea.
I know they told us. I can't remember what it was, but they were back there, and I was like, "Bro, how fast is future travel? Because y'all motherfuckers moved real quick."
Mm-hmm.
And like, dude, he wasn't in a coma for a few days. Like he woke up, fucking no problem, and like y'all like way far away. I was like, I don't know about that, but that's more of obviously time restraints, but that's what I mean. If you would have made it a miniseries, 3-4 episodes long, you could have expanded on more of that, and you could have had some dope ass. You could have thrown even more homages for other movies in there. And by the way, you didn't mention the Thing. By the way,
Thing. No, yeah, the Thing.
The spaceship under the ice and
spaceship under the ice
with aliens in it.
Hunted in the middle of the
Arctic.
Ice.
You know what I mean? Like fuck, dude. Yeah,
Honestly,
I saw that. I was like,
having watched Edge of Tomorrow. Oh my god. That was literally an homage to Edge of Tomorrow as well.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, after I was watching this, I was thinking back to it. These aliens were more terrifying than the mimics were in Edge of Tomorrow.
Definitely.
They were their nightmare fuel on meth. These things were fucking terrifying. When they look up, when he keeps looking down that stairwell. And then he finally like looks up, and you can see the shadows. I was like, "Run! Don't even look. Just run. Don't look up. That's gonna slow you down. Just fucking run." Because I was gonna bring this up when you were talking earlier. The reveal of the white spikes to the characters before they showed us really was fantastic. Because they're like, "Why didn't they tell us what we're looking for?" I'm like, probably because you'd have shot yourself. But also, they probably can't, like, obviously they're not bringing, like, fucking cell phone footage back, right? But, like, they're like, can you imagine trying to specify that fucking thing to anybody? No.
Yeah, no. You'd be like, no, I'm not volunteering.
Yeah,
for
no,
this.
boom, I don't care. Boom. Like, I'm not going forward. You told me I'm already dead in the future. But also, that sounds terrifying. So I liked how they didn't tell him what it was, or it's like they referred to him as white spikes and the, what they call them, like aggressors or something, whatever they called them. And I was like, oh shit, okay. And then you see them attacking people, but the camera cuts away to them with the binoculars, and it zooms in, and you can see it. And I was like, I still don't even know look like, and that looks terrifying. And they're just like, she's frozen there.
Yeah,
I was like, is she gonna jump off? Is she gonna yeet off this building not to get fucking taken out by these things? Because I'd have just relaxed in that pool. Because as of right now, ain't nothing scary up here, but fuck that nonsense down on the ground floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, and the other thing that bothered me too is, why is it always got to be a fat guy who falls and causes all the problems?
So I was gonna get to that was one of my next things that I didn't really care for. Well, actually, that's the whole part of one of the next things that I didn't really care for is that they get to the lab, and they're like, well, okay, your team's dead. Obviously, they're hanging fucking alien cocoon style from the, Predator style, actually.
Yeah, they're
from the fucking ceiling in the center, and you're like, get out of there. Okay, fine. Get the stuff that you need and get out of there. Then they're like, well, we're going to just carpet bomb the area. So you might want to get the shit and get going now. And I'm like, okay, why don't you send in helicopters to like evac these people out? And they're like, no, 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 we're going to send in Humvees. I'm like, excuse me. First off, these things are on the ground. They're on the ground. Second, you're going to carpet bomb this place in what, 4 or 5 minutes is what you said? That's not enough time to like get to the ground floor of the building. Why don't you send in helicopters and just helicopter evac as many people as you possibly can out of there? Just do that. No, no, no. We have to get to the ground floor. We have to run to the Humvees. Everywhere that you see red smoke, by the way, is what's going to get bombed. And you're like, well, all I see is red smoke. So
Yeet.
yeet. Uh, they're so they lose most of their team on the run out, and then they get to the point where they have to make a bunch of jumps, like from rail to rail to rail to rail, and the one dude falls through. And I was like, well, bombs are about to drop on you. You need to leave him.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I honestly get it. Leave no man behind.
But
You're all about to be blown up in 30 seconds. So
y'all need to skedaddle.
Need to go. But Pratt decides, no, we need to save everybody, which gets the rest of the team killed.
Yep.
And he has almost no second remorse when he wakes up in the hospital. He's just like, the one dude, quiet silent type, who was the only other survivor of the whole entire ordeal, was like, you got the rest of my team killed. And Pratt was just basically like, that sucks. I'm going to go talk to my future daughter.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, why is the fat guy always the one that falls down and gets killed?
And it wasn't even like he got like hit from behind by a fucking white spike.
Yeah.
He just fell because they're jumping over gaps and he's fat. I was like, bro, was that the best route to go?
No, I mean, granted, it was probably the only route because you were trying to be evacuated by Humvee.
Fucking just. Now, the one thing about that when you're saying that, when they were in the stairwell, the upwards of the stairwell did look pretty fucked. So, like, the roof might have been not a great option. But I'm also thinking that building probably had more than one stairwell in it. But they didn't say that. They're automatically going down.
They're automatically going down.
And I was like, yeah, but, like, to your point, I was like, because at this point, we don't even know they, like, pseudo fly, which, again, reiterating myself, terrifying. And they swim like motherfuckers, so also terrifying. And the other thing I was gonna say is when they have that aerial shot of all the white spikes flooding out into the streets, I was like,
how are you getting away from that?
You're not, like, Humvees. Clearly, there's a reason you don't fill Miami with Humvees, mainly because you probably don't have that many, but also they don't seem very effective because y'all got fucked real bad by it, and you didn't plan it very well, because look what happened to y'all. You know what I mean? Like, it's shit, like those Humvees, to your point earlier, they were just smoked right out the gate. Like,
yeah.
They done got bull aliened right over and then picked apart, and I was like, no helicopters?
No helicopters.
Not even not even air support for the Humvees?
Nope.
Like, if you would have had like okay, cool.
Gunships going on with them, Apache helicopters,
anything.
Comanches, whatever future helicopter that you have going along with it. Yeah. Cody.
What about those fucking drones from the water base, from Waterworld?
Yeah, those two.
They were picking them apart on that wall. There was way too many of them. But what I'm saying is, like, they could have supplied air cover with those real well. Like, you could have saved those Humvees, and obviously that would have added to, like, you know, the suspense, whatever. But it's also, like, smart, because you could have been like, hey, Pratt, we don't think you're gonna make it. Can you just, like, run over and tuck those vials inside this drone? We're gonna make sure to get out of here, okay, before the kaboomies come. Nah, that wasn't an option. I was like, y'all have drones. You have drones that have literal Gatling guns on them.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't have sent one?
Nope, not at all. Didn't need to, couldn't expense it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Whatever.
What? Yeah. So from there, like as soon as he basically met the girl, I was like, well, that's his daughter in the future. Like I turned to Adam. I was like, that's his daughter from the future. And like it was literally 5 minutes later. It's like Forrest. Oh, that's a weird last name. How do you spell that? And I'm like, yeah, that's his daughter in the future. Like it's so on the nose that of exactly what they were doing with this movie. Yeah. Uh, Honestly, from there, the only other problems that I had with the movie is he literally Star Lord humanity because he didn't want to let his future daughter get killed, even though if he went back in time, he could prevent all the things from happening.
Yeah.
So she would still technically be alive, and that was pissing me off. I was so mad at that. That, like, I get it. It's his daughter. But Pratt, if you could just get back to the past with the thing that's going to save humanity, you save your daughter in the future. In fact, she doesn't have to become research general that saves humanity.
She doesn't have to be
Can,
Sarah Connor.
she doesn't have to be Sarah Connor. She can she can grow up to be a normal person, and you've already learned that you fucked up in life in her original timeline, and you can clean that up. You don't need to save future her.
And apparently she's smart enough to go to MIT, so you did all right.
You
You just
did
have to
all
make
right
sure she
enough.
doesn't have to join the military to save humanity from being eradicated by fucking alien
Yes.
tentacle fucking frogs.
Yep. And her whole plan too made total sense until they actually traveled to the future and didn't do it. Her whole plan was like, I know, one of the reasons why I brought you here is so that you can take the thing. We're going to find the cure. We're going to find the thing that's going to kill them, and or kill her because we can kill them, but we can't really kill her with the neurotoxin stuff. And you're going to go back into the past and you're going to manufacture the fuck out of that shit, and you're going to kill them. You're going to kill her when they show up. Awesome. That was the plan. Am I wrong? Was that the plan?
That was the plan.
That was the plan. And then he gets back to the past and for some reason has no idea of how to do the stuff with the neurotoxin. I was so confused by that.
Yeah, like my problem with her plan was I'm gonna send you back with the neurotoxin, right, that we know is gonna kill her. A, why didn't you kill her right then and there? Right? Test it, like not just on her blood, but like, hey, why don't we just jab this red belly bitch right now? We kill her. Our base stays alive, right? Cool.
And I'm willing to overlook that because they probably didn't assume that those things could swim as fast or swim at all or swim as fast as they could.
Which
I'm willing to overlook that because you're right. Like they got it, and hey, let's test it. Stab, 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 stab. Little stabs, big stabs. I don't know.
all of
Stab,
them,
stab.
like
All the
small,
stabs.
medium, large, extra large, fucking sumo weight stabs, all of them. Like you should have had tubes plugged into that bitch and just like injected and
Yeah.
injected until she dissolved into a puddle of fucking tentacle frog goo. And I'm like, okay, cool. That doesn't help the past though, because all these people are still dead. I get it, but your only plan to give him was a single vial. Okay, I get it. Shit happened. You couldn't make some more right then and there, but you gave him the fucking
Right.
the building blocks. All right, cool. But the only plan you had was to give it to him to go back with. There wasn't like a, hey, this is a way we disperse the other toxin. How? We fucking don't know. You just said you did, and it killed a lot of the dude ones, but never
Yeah.
her. Was
Yeah.
it gas grenades? Was it fucking doused
You're right.
bullets?
They didn't explain how that they distributed in the first place. Was yeah? Are you sitting there shooting with darts?
Yeah, like
Are you sitting there like chucking gas grenades at them? Are
you know,
you just
fucking wrist rockets, just
fucking?
shooting
Do you have old school crop dusters and you're just crop dusting them,
paintballing them. Like, what are you
paintballing
doing?
them? Something you didn't explain it, and that was yeah, and that was a whole nother part of like of how we disperse the neurotoxin thing, and then you get into the past, and it ended up not being matter because for some reason even though you have an impending apocalypse coming, the rest of the nations decided, like, well, here you have Pratt, who's like, Pratt, who's like, I have the solution. I have it right here. And they're like, we're not going to do that.
If you would have just told everybody, hey, world who's rioting all around, killing each other, because that makes fucking sense. We have a solution. We need to come together again. Like, I know we were at the beginning, and then, like, Palace fucking just, people just went crazy.
In
like,
1 week.
Just batshit. Well, not 1 week. I mean...
Yeah, there was riots and stuff.
It was several months from when they first landed or first arrived to when Pratt went. But what I'm saying is, like, the world was falling into chaos. It's like, oh, blah, 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 there's no future, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool, I get it. But you could have used the knowledge, the future knowledge, and said, hey, see this goo? This gonna kill them. They ain't here yet, which means we need to make a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when they should have figured out that, hey, these motherfuckers were here the entire time. Where?
Yeah.
Is the next step, you know what I mean? Then stumbling upon the, like the whole claw thing, which I guess it was from a foot because he was cutting one off earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
Right? You could have been like, hey, like many layers down inside this claw, because it regrew over and over again like a tree. I found the ash. But it looks like he just went, like, shaved some off and said, Chinese ash.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, obviously jumped. I'm not smart enough to be like, the Volcano Kid. Once he said I know a guy, I was like, oh shit, it's the Volcano Kid. But also they were always talking about volcanoes, and I was like, well, that's obviously Volcano Kid. That's hilarious that they're gonna, which is, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, is, and I could be wrong, it should just be like a coincidence, I think that's an homage to, what's that David Duchovny movie with the shampoo?
David Duchovny movie?
Evolution.
Oh my god, Evolution.
Remember? Because I
haven't thought about that movie in a long time.
I love that movie. That fat kid from his class has the dandruff and uses the Head and Shoulders that has the chemical in it that would kill the alien thingy.
No, I don't remember that at all.
Go back and rewatch it. I think it's on Amazon. You can watch it or just buy it, whatever. David Duchovny needs your money.
David Duchovny doesn't need my money.
Yes, he does. How do you know? When's the last time you saw David Duchovny?
Yesterday.
Liar!
Yeah, I'm lying.
Yeah, you son of a bitch. Anyways, I'm pretty sure that was an homage. Otherwise, it's just a blank, like, just the worst coincidence ever, because, like, it's the exact same setup. Think about it, right? Smart white guy, smart black guy, relying on a student to give him the knowledge. I was like, is this Evolution too? Because yes, please. Is David Duchovny going to come with a fire truck full of Head and Shoulders? Yes, please. I will recite that movie back to you in detail, sir.
It's a fantastic movie.
It's Tremors
I've
on a whole new level.
Only seen it a handful of times.
Oh, man.
The last time I've seen it is probably like 20 years ago.
You're off for the next, like, week and a half, right?
One more day.
Whatever. Watch it tomorrow.
I could watch it tomorrow. I'm probably not going to watch it tomorrow.
You piece of shit. Sorry.
I know, right?
Sorry. Go ahead. I interrupted you again.
What was I going to say? So like they get to that, and I was like, okay, well, this is he comes back, and I'm like, this is the end. Okay, they're going to manufacture the stuff. We're going to have a feel good time, and then that's it. And then the ending kid just kept going. I was like, holy crap, how much longer is this movie? Like, what the, didn't we end it? And then that's when you find out, like, no, they, excuse me, choking on my own spit.
Oh, look at you.
Right?
Oh, my spit's chunky. I can choke on it. Whatever, Joe. Showing off.
Never said it was chunky.
That's what I heard.
Whatever.
Oh, there he goes again.
Damn it.
Chunky.
Fucking back hurts.
Well, it's going to get old.
And then they figure it out. And then they get there. And I really didn't have. I only had one other problem with the last bit of the movie. I thought that they were going to end it with the alien queen going off the edge and just kind of disappearing. And we're like, we don't know if she's dead or alive, and we can't confirm the body. But no, she literally splatted. And you're like, oh, okay, she's really dead. And then they show the general guy taking all the credit for everything. I'm like, that dude is just literally just twirling his mustache. He's a villain
Yes.
type of thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all my idea. We sent in a crack team of people. It was like, God, you're such an awful character.
Yeah, you're real bad.
But that's pretty much it. That's all I can remember of what I really didn't like about the movie. So that's what I mean. It's like, it's a really good movie. It is really worth watching. It has a lot of great ideas. I just wish it was a little bit better.
Yeah, there's a lot of we'll say plot holes because I think that's technically what they really are, like true plot holes. And like a lot of them are like, you could have fixed this with like half a sentence, or like a visual of some sort, but I know you didn't because it confused me at first, and I was like, this makes no sense.
Oh, actually, that reminds me. No, there was one more thing that made me mad.
Oh.
And that was because of that exact sentence right there. I always have an issue where you need to, if you're going to do something, you need to explain that you're doing it, whether it's visually or it's audibly. There we go.
There you go.
You need to explain what you're doing. So when they arrived miraculously at the spaceship, because they literally just got fucking Mortal Kombat and just dropped off in the middle of new Mortal Kombat movie, where they just get dropped off in the middle of nowhere, and they're like, okay, find Shangri-La or whatever the fuck it was, whatever the name of the place was. And they just happened to just walk right to it. I was like, well, that's convenient, but whatever. It's a movie. I'll accept it. They walk there, and they're like, okay, my compass is going all wild. Well, it must be something. We must be near something, over something or whatever. And suddenly it cuts to explosions happening in the ice. And I was like, did they set those charges?
No. See, Russian ice in the north is explosive when looked at properly.
Yeah.
You stare at it.
I was like, did they set the charges? Because they literally went from my compass is spinning to boom, 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 boom. And I was like, oh, shit's going to go down. The ship is already, this is where it actually happens. They fuck it up. They're the ones that caused this.
That's what I said.
And no, it was them who set the charges and did it intentionally. And I was like, oh, you couldn't take 2 seconds out of a 2-hour and 19-minute movie to explain that, hey guys, get the charges out. We're gonna blow a hole right here. Yes, Cody.
Not to keep this going because we need to wrap it up.
Yes.
But that brings up a thing that actually bothered me. So this ship, two things. This ship crash lands, air quotes, lands, Transformer style, gets frozen in the ice, right?
Yep.
Megatron then like photocopies stuff onto dude's glasses. Oh wait, no, wrong movie. Sorry.
Wrong movie. That's still Transformers.
They blow a hole up and there's like completely excavated like pathway to the right. Yes. I was like, well, it didn't make no sense to me. Whatever, right? Because it's all cut out like they do in like those ice movies. And I was like, all right, well, whatever. Like obviously something tried to get out. Maybe it was the people driving it that you saw dead in the fucking seats or whatever. And I was like, well, that's also Prometheus because
that's
they saw,
jockeys.
Space jockeys. And then the thing that bothered me the most, well, two things. They were able to cut into a spaceship with a giant saw.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
You're telling me this advanced spaceship full of alien death frog thingies crash lands, which means it had to get through our atmosphere unless they did the whole thing from sphere where it's like it doesn't actually travel through space, it travels through space-time, whatever. Okay, cool. So it crashes in one piece, but we can cut through it with a basic like
with
cutty saw thing.
Yeah, giant jaws of life saw.
Yeah, okay. So
we cut people out of cars with this thing, which, by the way, we decided to take along with us because we knew that we'd be cutting open a alien ship.
Yeah, so okay, and that actually did lead to a cool fucking alien kill thing where they jumped into him. That was pretty rad. My other problem with that is, and it was completely glossed over, is the hole in the side of the ship. So when they get to the part where here's the main room, which you didn't actively go and kill the queen first, which still bothers me, because why? You see a hole with snow blowing into it. And I was like, y'all motherfuckers know something got out, right? That's daylight and snow blowing into this hole.
Mm-hmm.
So either they left the door open when they were trying to dig their way out of the ice that they somehow got stuck so far in that they couldn't dig all the way out, even though they were almost all the way out. But then these aliens that the ones you saw Prometheus hanging from their seats or whatever didn't fix the hole? Was the hole created by a creature that got out and now we have a sequel because we just didn't talk about this hole? Is that how the queen got out? Because she didn't come out of the hole. Remember the hole they cut? The other ones did. She appeared on top.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to bring up the hole in the side of the ship, fellas, with the snow? And ladies, I don't want to forget the ladies. Ladies are dumb about it too. There's literal snow in sunlight coming through this hole, and it's not new. Like, there's a lot of snow, and there's ice inside. That hole ain't new. You guys didn't accidentally blow a hole in it because this motherfucker stayed in one piece through our atmosphere, which should have done some real fucking damage to that ship. Plus, we used a earthbound fucking Jaws of Life saw to get through. Okay, all right. I mean, there's some glaring problems with it, but I actually enjoyed the movie a lot. I highly recommend everyone watch it. But just, I mean, turn off parts of your brain to like click off the logical stuff and be like, this is supposed to be entertainment. This isn't, highbrow fucking entertainment. I'm not watching this on Sundance or whatever. Just enjoy it. It's action's pretty good. Somehow civilians are expert shots by accident, but then again can't shoot straight when they need to.
But it's such a great idea for a time travel movie.
Oh,
and it's
fantastic!
Such an homage to so many other movies, and it does the homages so well.
Including
I
Evolution.
Really enjoyed this movie. I did.
Yeah, no, I would highly recommend watching it. And matter of fact, I may watch it again, just because it was entertaining. But whatever. That's it. We didn't actually do the intro, so we'll do both right now. Comes naturally. We are.
Yo.
I am Cody, and that's it for this week's episode, everybody. Thanks for joining us and listening to us prat about a movie. But go watch Tomorrow War on the whole Amazon, right? Amazon Prime Video. I was like, is it on Hulu? What did I watch it on? Amazon Prime Video.
Prime.
Pratzenegger. So check it out. It's awesome. It's pretty fun. Again, just click off the whole logic part and just enjoy the flashy images and the terrifying alien monsters, which are probably gonna give me nightmares tonight. So thanks again for that. But that's it. And like I always say, at the end of this, you fuckers just came naturally.
Bye.